Okay, hello again. I am here again with Daniel. Today is day 7 of SORUDO Camp. I think today was really fun for you because you test some other model simulation. What are your thoughts? We see at you like big increase of skills during the camp, and your second simulation was like much better than the first one. What do you think? Are you satisfied?
Yes, I'm satisfied a lot, and it made it much more real. Afterwards, even when we talked about it, it was very mentioned why it made so real. I don't want to spoil and say a little bit too much about the model, but I try to implement the techniques we have done here. And this was my prime goal when I entered the model simulation. Even if I maybe could manage with different way, by just force or something like that, it was not the goal for me, but I wanted really to test in a higher level, in a more realistic situation, the techniques of SORUDO, and I can feel that it was pretty much a success. For me,
yeah, perfect. Be proud, because I was like really dedicated to step you in the simulation, so it was good job. In this video, I would like to ask you more about your experiences in Israeli army, because you mentioned it in the last video. Please tell me, how did you get into the army?
In Israel, it's a mandatory serving for guys and girls since they're 18 years old. Guys serve for 3 years, girls for 2. There are slight changes from time to time, a little bit less months, a little bit increase in months, so I'm not pretty accurate if it's 3 years or 2 years and 8 months, but it's not that big important.
Is there any way how to avoid the service? Because here, when the military service was mandatory, many people was like looking for shortcuts how to avoid the service. And won't people in Israel avoid of the military service, or it's like just like good news for you that you can go to military?
Of course there are people that do avoid if it's a medical condition, or they are just inventing themselves medical conditions, but the majority are serving if it's not in a more combat role, so with a role that they come home every day and can work and provide if they have a problem, a socio-economical problem at home. But it's pretty much mandatory, and also there are benefits because you can experience from very young age the sense of to be a commander, it's managerial skills from very young age. It doesn't matter what is your profession, but you still get it in very young age. If we compare it to, let's say, American Army, that their commander will be twice older. So you can benefit from that, and because almost everyone passing the army, it's also something that it's nice to mention and in your resume, or it's also an icebreaker in every interview, or if you meet someone new.
Okay. And do you have any professional army, like people who do it like for a living their whole life, or it's just built on people in mandatory service?
Of course there are. You start as a mandatory service, and if you decided that you want to continue, you can continue. If either it's an officer job or just to continue in the military, like a soldier, you can change roles, you can change units. So, but the basic opening the door, it's through the mandatory service.
Okay. And you already speak about that you was not just in the military, but in some like special units, special forces. Can you tell us more? Which unit? What was your like purpose? What was your role in this?
It was combat engineering special forces. During the training I was injured. I was teared my Achilles tendon, so after surgery and recovery of my incident, I trained Krav Maga, and because I had before that many experience in martial arts, so I continued as a instructor in my unit. For me it was very satisfying role, because it's something that before that I enjoyed to do, to train by myself and all the martial arts life. And when I could teach people and to see how they progress, how can they start in point A and getting to a very high level, it's something that was very, very enjoyable for me.
And is it hard to join a unit like this? Do you need to pass and some exams, or what is the criteria to even join like special forces?
Almost all the special forces, you just need to have more exams, Hell Week and etc., which every unit has their own, and passing all the interview, defines also how much is the capacity for this course at this point of time. So
could you tell us more about your Hell Week?
It was tough. It was very, very tough. I think we started around 300, maybe 200 participants, finished maybe 60 or 90, I don't remember exactly, and again, very small part was able to join. Couple of days, very, very intense, testing you mentally, physically, want to see how you cooperate in a teamwork, how you think, how you solve problems, and to see how you continue doing, even if you're tired and you cannot do anything and all your body hurts, you don't need to push and continue and do.
Was this the most difficult part of your training, or you meet any like more difficult situations or tests or exams or something in the training?
Afterwards, the training are completely a higher level. This is just the opening to enter, but it's varies. It's a different kind of pressure. It could be maybe not all the time it's a test pressure, but still you all the time have to do something, and without sleep or without food, and it could be, it's very, very physical, so you have to be, you're building a good shape throughout the training, so it makes it a little bit easier. And again, because it's a team, so everybody support each other, and it's not that it's just hard for me, it's hard for all of us, so pushing each other.
And for example, how long you need to be without the sleep?
It depends. It can be even for 2 hours, and then you work and do something, then again you sleep for an hour, 2 hours, and then again you have to do something. So it's also changes all the time, so it's not something very specific that I can say.
Okay. And what was like the biggest or strongest experience you have like during the whole training? For example, you said me the story about training how to clear tunnels. Okay. Do you have any like stronger experience or scary experience or something what was really difficult?
I think that if we're talking the tunnels point, this is very, very unique experience. Even if you just going to a training facility, not a real one, you still feel that you're in a completely different place. You feeling the claustrophobic feeling, that everything is closing on you, the feeling of sound, and if you hear something, even if it will be a couple of 30 meters across you or farther, you still hear it like we're just talking to each other right now, that close. And it could be something that I really talk with you here, but it will sound completely different, so you cannot feel and understand all the time where you're located. So, but it's very unique, I think, experience, and if we need to comply the combat fighting, it's something that I was supposed to think and figure out how to do it and how to implement it. Luckily, we never had to test it in real life, but it's something that it's nice to have another tool beside weapons.
It's like normal that somebody who is on the mandatory service goes really into war when at the time there is some conflict, some mission, or it's just for professional army and the mandatory service? It's like secondary forces, or do they just go to the action as normal army?
As normal army, it depends again if it's a more serious job to do with operation or just a warlike situation. So if every unit gets their job, and here there also we can settle the things. Let's say if our job is to occupy a neighborhood that's shooting from us, so one team will get this house, one team will get this house, and if we know that the third house is the most dangerous and there are all the weapons are there, so you might send them more professional and more skillful just because they have much more experience, so you will prefer. But basically from mandatory we're prepared to react to any situation.
And when you are 18 years old and you now go to the mandatory service, what to prepare for? What would be like standard things to do in army for 3 years? I have no imagination about what I will do those 3 years. How much is the training? How much is some specific work?
It's dependable. It's everyone who decides for himself what he prefers to do. For example, there are people that are all their life when they were young, they were athletes, so they have a physical condition that is high enough, so they trust it. There are people that going to specific groups to, like you have Boy Scouts or something like that, but that's specified for training to the army, and it's something that is quite popular in Israel. Or there are people that goes more to martial arts. For me, this was my preparation. I was sure enough and I was very, very secure in my abilities and confident, so I decided that my knowledge is enough for me.
That's interesting. And what was now when you think back, what is like your biggest advantage thanks to being in army? Biggest lesson or something you learned there and you can use it until now?
You teach there, you get a lot of independence there, and you have a lot of responsibility. So since you're 18 years old, you are able to operate jets or operate tanks, or you a commander, so your life of the soldier are your responsibility. Or when I trained, the safety of all the soldiers are my responsibility. So it's different life. You say people, or if I watch about a college movie in the United States, how they 18 years old and party all the time. So you feel they are a little bit more childish because you are experiencing something much more harder. But again, there is always the time when you come back home, and then you can go to party or something like that and feel like a young guy again. But still, it's something that you getting the responsibility very, very in high level there.
Yeah, when you told me you are 25 years old, I almost don't believe you, because when people look at your eyes, there is some story, and you can recognize that somebody come through some situations and has experiences, because you obviously need to go across some obstacles, and it's formed you. The next question I would like to ask, you were speaking about you can at a really young age become a commander, and you was a commander of some unit?
Not of a unit, but when I was head instructor, so I had, we are not a big unit, so I had 1 or 2 instructors under me.
Okay.
But again, when I receiving a group, so I'm responsible for them, and I instruct them, but also the commander at that moment. But this was the majority of my experience as a commander.
Okay, and what do you think was like your key abilities to become like leader or get into some management position or leader position?
You wanted to change things. If I saw things that are not very good, doing very well, or stuck in some point, I believe that I can do something better and to change, do slight changes to, and I didn't have too much high ego, so I was able to address and to search people that maybe have more knowledge than me in some things, and to talk with them and to see how they resolve things in their places, or if they have any idea, and then to try and implement or even slight change it and adapt it to the situation I need. We had a lot of things, we were the best unit that done it at the time. We kept in touch with all the reserve instructors. So instructor that already finished his duty, we still not forgot all what he done and all what he did, and we could talk to him to ask him to help us if we have some situation that we know that he dealt with it and we are not, and we're not forgetting our past and trying to, okay, I'm a new guy here, I want to do the things like I do, and all what was before me, it doesn't matter. But on the other hand, I think it's very, very important to take the things that are already existing and step and to try to build with them something.
Okay, perfect. Do you have, if on this video if somebody is watching this video and for example he or she is 18 years old and going to the army in a few months in Israel, do you have any advice?
Just to take it as an experience, that even if there are situations that will be tough or hard, they eventually getting over, and you remember it as a nice experience. So it's something that every time you should know. And there is also nice when you have someone close to you. It doesn't matter if you get along all the team together or you just have one or two good friends, because when you suffer together and not suffer alone, it's much easier to overcome anything.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for watching. If you have any more questions on Daniel, just write us a comment and we will try to make maybe another video. Thank you for your time and see you.
Bye bye.